Welcome to Vol Stars, where we talk everything markets and those who make them. Today's episode brought to you by the McDonald's McRib. Oh yes, it's back. Described by the plaintiffs of our current class action lawsuit in the Northern District Court of Illinois as a patty constructed from lower grade portions such as shoulder, heart, and other organ cuts. Try one of these 5 3/4 inch long delights today. My wife says one is plenty, but we all know there's a reason two come in a meal. Ironically, the only real pig in this meal is you, so eat your slop, oinky. And finally, by GammaStrike.com, providing actual real-time data for every type of trader. You've tried the rest, now try the best, GammaStrike.com. I'm JFresh, and I'm joined by our co-hosts, Gherk and Dork. Let's get into the market overview.
I see you still haven't gotten accepted as lead editor of The Onion, but I do recognize that you keep trying.
One day they'll. No, McDonald's actually paid us a lot of money to say that verbatim.
Legally,
your slop oinkers?
They did not.
Yeah, no. It's
Well, speaking of market overview,
it's parody. It's protected. It's protected.
Speaking of market overview, the NASDAQ, as we are recording this, is down 114 basis points.
As it should be.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got some.
You know
some
the
spicy
most
over the
ironic thing about that is it's up too high.
Yeah, it's still overpriced. 114 points is, nothing to take a stick at, but it's also not really much of a dent in the richness of earnings multiples that we're in right now.
But
yeah, I'm pretty sure that the index closed up, what was it, like 16.8% last year? So we got a ways to go down before any kind of normalization.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So in terms of the spiciness, was this all in response to just Trump saying that we need Greenland because Norway didn't give him the Nobel Peace Prize, which means that Denmark is somehow at fault?
Hold on. It's not, well, first of all, let's not credit our president with knowing the difference between other countries. Secondly, that's not all he's done this weekend. He's been a busy little boy, for a stroke victim with early onset dementia. He's been really, 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 really grinding the gears.
Is it early onset?
Hours.
Has anybody? What's the latest on the color of his
onset.
hands? Are people still looking at the color of his hands? What's going on there?
They're probably purple again, but I would imagine
they figured out a new makeup mixture that covers it better.
The pictures of himself in the Oval Office.
South Park already did that bit.
Yeah.
So okay, so what was the other? Well, he's been a busy boy. Why don't you riddle to me the ways in which he's been busy?
Well, I think the market reaction is largely due to the threat of coercive tariffs on our European allies, unless Denmark agrees to sell us Greenland. And so not only would he be imposing a 10% tariff increase on top of the tariffs already in effect, or wait, no, he would be adding, so bringing tariffs up to the 25% level. For Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Finland, and really interestingly, the UK, who's not part of the European Union at all. But you know what? They're across the pond, so fuck them.
Okay, here's the thing, though. We all know it's. I haven't even looked because I have just too much fatigue on this. I'm going to guess we have a 2-week window before these tariffs are going to go on. And
starting February 1st. So yes, exactly 2 weeks.
2 weeks, great. Okay. Yeah. And he's probably going to reverse course any day now at Davos, however you say it.
Davos.
He's going to have whatever. He's going to talk with all his rich buddies over there, and they're going to hash something out, and he's going to cancel the tariffs.
Do you think they're going to give him yet another peace prize?
Did they actually give him the last one, or did he I heard he took it was stolen.
Well, he gave
valor.
himself several different peace prizes prior to Mikado, or giving him hers. But she still won it. He just has the medal, like a consolation prize.
You know what's really sad about all this is that Trump is not actually as volatile as I was kind of expecting. I mean, he's doing a lot of volatile things, but kind of in a way. I don't know if you guys ever played that game, Super Punch Out or Super Knockout. What's it called? It's a
I did
Super
not play
Nintendo
it.
For
game.
knockout, I think it was super. I
think it
don't
was-
remember.
Hold on, I gotta look it up because somebody's gonna
Win a
correct
fight
me.
with against Mike Tyson, or what was that called?
It's called Super Punch Out. And like every character, some of the characters are pretty hard, but like once you learn their moves, it's just like, okay, now he's gonna do this, so I do that. And it becomes very mechanical and kind of meh. Like that's Trump. Trump is I'm gonna pick a character here just because it's somebody's favorite character. He's definitely not Gabby J, that bitch.
You nerd.
Why doesn't Wikipedia have a list of the characters?
You need to make it. That's what needs to happen. Okay, so wait a minute. I just want to game this out for a sec, even though you're right, he's probably going to taco in the next 5 days.
Well, I mean, maybe when they release the next 0.5% of the Epstein files.
Oh, right, yeah. Once they figure out the glitches they've been having.
Yeah, that has kept 99% of them from being released.
Yeah, so what Europe, I think I mean, the game plan, right, for any country that's dealing with this, like a major European country, is to just impose tariffs on software, right? Somehow. There's got to be a way to do that.
To what?
Basically, say tax software, people using like fucking Meta.
Sure.
And those
yeah.
guys.
I mean, they already do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they
Just
already
ramp it
have
up.
I mean,
digital
didn't Google just
taxes.
like start adding as an actual line item on their quarterly earnings the amount of fines they have to pay to the EU because they're breaking some law, and they're just like, well, we're just going to pay it, I guess.
Well,
So
now we got more.
literal line item VIG payments to the EU mafia from tech, and it's probably just going to keep getting worse.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you could actually figure out what you're getting from tech, like in terms of like, monetary flow, and then just tariff it to the point where you're making up for the USA tariffs and just fuck everybody over.
I mean, Europe is definitely going to institute reciprocal tariffs if Trump bumps tariffs on Europe. Especially if he keeps doing things like texting the prime minister of other countries to let them know that he needs Greenland.
So the whole Greenland thing is interesting.
Is it?
Yeah, because of just how stupid it is.
I mean, it is kind of stupid. I think part of it is just a little bit of, well, we want it, so why can't we have it? Let's just see if we can just have it, see what happens. But also there is some strategy involved there. I mean, there are reasons why people are speaking in his ear saying, let's get Greenland, right?
Like Elon Musk and his what was his grandfather's ultimate goal of the apartheid technocracy that owns North and South America and Greenland?
Did
Hey,
you
you
guys
know what?
did you guys also hear that Trump started his own Substack called the Board of Peace, and it's you pay $1 billion, you're going to be part of Trump's little club, and that's time limited, so you got to pay that that's subscription cost on a yearly basis. But
Wait, who gets that money?
well, so far
Him?
he's invited Belarus and Putin to be on his Board of Peace because they seem to be good candidates.
They love
for,
peace.
Yeah, I've never met anybody who loves it more. And
Yeah, let's start with the people currently at war. Put them on the Board of Peace.
How do you guys feel about pay-to-play NATO?
I mean, I don't have $1 billion, but if I did, I'd get into it.
I mean, I don't mind pay to play NATO. I don't know that that's what
NATO
this
is. NATO is
It
kind of built to be pay
right?
to play.
I mean, it's like a membership to transactional diplomacy.
Okay, but like, what is the constitution of the Board of Peace? What is their working model? What are their ideals? What are their goals?
Whoa. We don't do
so
that here, JFresh.
So far, Trump said on September 29th, 2025, I announced the comprehensive plan to end the Gaza conflict. And he goes on about that. And then on November 17th, the United Security
okay,
the United
so
Nations
what you're
Council adopted
what
it.
you're telling me is he wants us to believe that the thing that is continuing and prolonging the never-ending Gaza conflict is because there's not a thing that exists called the Board of Peace, which will end it in some fashion.
Well, yes. He says now it is time to turn all of these dreams into a reality. At the heart of the plan is the Board of Peace, the most impressive and consequential board ever assembled, which will be established as a new international organization and transnational governing administration. Our effort will bring together a distinguished group of nations ready to shoulder the noble responsibility of building lasting peace, in all caps, an honor reserved for those prepared to lead by example and brilliantly invest in a secure and prosperous future for generations to come. We will convene our wonderful and committed partners, most of whom are highly respected world leaders, in the near future. This is addressed to the President of the Republic of Belarus.
Can I just say there's way
Alexander
too many
Lukashenko.
There's way too many adjectives in there. Like, get to the point, dude. This is a statement of purpose, not a fucking LinkedIn article about how you just took a job at Google.
There's no difference for Trump.
It's very hard to pitch your UN Substack to the world leaders. So, give him some wiggle room.
Cool. I mean, are we still like who did it better? Donald Trump or Elon Musk? Elon Musk selling self-driving cars that you could rent out for profit for literally like what, going on like 12 years now? Or Donald Trump, who almost 12 years now has been saying he is going to solve the Middle East, famously with his son-in-law Jared Kushner also saying that he's going to solve the Middle East, and here we are. Middle East isn't solved, but any year now, by next year, right, we'll solve the Middle East.
I mean, yeah, I think that comparison is fairly apt. But yeah,
what if
I
the
don't...
only people who could solve the Middle East is the Middle East?
Okay, so I mean, I have it on some OK authority, someone who did talk to an Afghan National Army colonel about the Middle East. And you know what their solution was to solve the Middle East?
Obliterate the other side?
Kill every man, woman, and child over the age of 9.
That just sounds like Palestine.
This was a dude who just grew up there, lived there, fought in the army to try to root out ISIS and Al Qaeda and all that, and that was his ultimate, Band-Aid proposal was that.
It's almost like, are you trying to say something like fundamental extremism is fundamental?
I don't know. It's just the thing is, the problems in the Middle East are so deep rooted and cultural at this point that solving it isn't, it's not something that can be just done by one person or one group of people that have these good ideas.
We've only been trying for a millennia. I think we just need a little more time and we'll get there.
I mean, so that's like that. You know what that reminds me of, though? The Middle East reminds me a lot of what happened in Africa in the 19th and early 20th century, where a bunch of Europeans were like, "Hey, we found Africa, and we know how to solve it." And that,
I think
it's not exactly apples to apples.
I think they were like, "Oh, look, we found Africa. Let's exploit it."
Yeah. That's the same thing.
It's a little
same
different.
thing.
It's actually, that's more like AI, but I don't think we've got that on the list tonight to talk about.
Thank God.
Are you sure?
No, don't you dare.
I'll find a way.
Don't you dare.
We usually have AI.
Well, once we get done talking about Trump, we're going to talk about big banks, and we can't talk about big banks without all of their investments in AI.
Yes, we can.
That's true.
Oh,
plus we have earnings.
We can just focus on their balance sheets.
Which is stuffed full of AI dog shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, I don't think we're done talking about Trump. Is there? So, all right. So we think that the volatility on the market right now is just everybody like, oh shit, tariffs again. We have 2 weeks. He's going to reverse it. So
Yeah, well, I mean, I
we're
think everybody's going to be leaning into the taco trade, but everybody leaned into the taco trade with JPOW, and that hasn't gone away. I mean, he like shunted the responsibility for charging JPOW with his DOJ, but I mean, that's still ongoing. And so, like, the threat to the independence of the Fed has not gone away, even though, you know, Trump's like, oh, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. And so, I mean, I don't know. It's, I mean,
yeah, it's just not
you
an
never-
acute event though, right? It's going to drag out over years potentially, right? So nobody's expecting anything to come of it soon.
I think what it is that nobody actually thinks. I think most analysts at the time of like the JPOW thing were just like, you know, Trump doesn't have anything on him, so this means nothing. Like, even though he's attacking the Fed, he's basically, you know, throwing rubber chickens at it. And so I think that's the reason that those charges are kind of being dismissed, is because they're not valid charges. But I mean, there is validity to him, you know, escalating tariffs against the EU. What I think is even more probable and more valid than, irrespective of Trump, is the EU simply slapping tariffs on the US or sanctions. Because I mean, they need to stand united against the United States, you know, and like kind of maximalist imperialistic demands. And they very well might just reciprocate with tariffs anyway. They don't need us as a trading partner. They can do what Canada's doing and you know, make better deals with China. And I'm sure Xi is more than willing to step up and make those deals with the EU. And you know, that also presents a significant amount of, given the breadth of countries that he's threatened here. This presents a significant amount of risk to the chip industry, right? ASML is the only company in the world that makes the lithography machines necessary to make the chips that, you know, float our current market valuations.
Yeah.
So I
that
mean,
can
this
only
is
be
all,
put together in Taiwan, with
Yeah,
rare
this is all-
earths that can only be sourced from China. Yeah, there's lots of
Yep. Yeah. So this is just another attempt at Trump to act like a child to get his way. And you know, realistically, how many times is the rest of the world going to kowtow to those absurd demands? You know.
But this just comes back to like, what exactly is his way? What is he trying to get other than Greenland?
I mean, apparently Greenland, but I mean, obviously, you know, it's just one step towards threatening the sovereignty of other nations. I mean,
It's like buying Alaska.
Greenland.
Great long-term play because it was full of oil. But like, what is there like a comparable? Are there that many rare earth minerals and things in Greenland that it's worth buying?
They're
or
all under
taking?
a mile sheet thick of ice.
I mean, ice.
Mile thick sheet of ice.
When there's a will, there's a way. I mean, a mile's pretty far, but
That's
I don't know
thick.
how far.
That's a thick fucking sheet of ice.
JFresh, have you ever looked at a mile-high mountain from its base?
No.
You should do it sometime. It'll give you an idea of the scale of a mile in vertical distance. It's kind of mind-blowing.
Actually, hold on. How tall? I don't think Stone Mountain is a mile high.
You're going to be hard-pressed to find one.
How? I mean, just be realistic. How would we even finance digging through the fucking ice?
Well, it's not just digging through it. It's
we can't refine anyway because we don't have
not
any
even
of that
Dude,
infrastructure.
The Tesla robots and the
stupidest
Boring
fucking
Company. Elon will get us there.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not about just dig. You don't just
machines, right?
Yeah, no, you just
At
don't.
least
You don't just.
by the end of next year, we'll be down there.
We don't just drill a fucking hole straight down and then congratulations, you got the minerals. You got to do basically a strip mine in there to actually try to get anything worth this shit out of there. And this is minerals that, you talk about concentrations and shit. When you pull it out, it just looks like dirt, and it takes a lot of processing to get it to be where it needs to be.
I have a question. How do we know they're down there?
Really fancy
geological surveys.
Of what type?
I don't fucking know. I'm not a geologist.
I mean, it sounds like we haven't actually gone down there and touched any of it, so I'm assuming some sort of optical measurement of some kind.
Yeah, probably. I mean, there's also like, mineral deposit. Like,
you could drill out a core of it in like several spots and see the concentrations in those cores.
Fine, but you have to get down there. Have we drilled a mile down already? In which case, it sounds like we can already do it.
I mean, we can drill down there, but good luck getting heavy equipment and people down there without spending $100 billion.
Ooh, $100 billion on a ridiculous endeavor?
Yeah, well,
where have I heard that before?
Is this going to come before or after we spend $300 billion refreshing Venezuela's oil infrastructure?
Oh, are we actually going to do that?
How are we going to finance all this shit with our long-term rates already at 5% and the independence of the Fed being attacked?
I don't know. Maybe the banks will help us out. So let's transition to big banks earnings season. We had a bunch of bank earnings last week. I don't know what else to say about Trump. We've gone pretty far off topic. We're just kind of waffling back and forth on the science of getting down the ice. And I don't think that is what people come to this podcast to listen to. And if it is, let us know.
You spent 20 minutes last week talking about thermodynamics.
I was fascinated. I loved it. I was riveted.
Yeah, you and the one other audience member riveted by it.
Oh, the one other person that actually listens to this? Yes.
So here's the thing, like the problem is that when you're talking about like big macro events and things like that and like wide scale things, there has to be some sort of appeal to knowledge and some sort of understanding that you don't understand everything. And when somebody comes along with a perspective where they are knowledgeable in a topic, you should listen. So talk about thermodynamics for 20 minutes. I will listen.
Well,
yeah, but here's the thing. At the same time,
possibility of getting through a mile-thick sheet of ice.
Yeah, love it. Where's our geologist? Where's Randy Marsh? Let's get Randy Marsh on here.
I just want to understand why we're doing all this for Greenland.
Are we just going to pour Venezuela's oil on top of the ice and light it on fire?
Well, so like the JFresh, you're coming back to my original point. It's interesting because of how stupid it is. Like, okay, so you slap some more missile detection radars on there, and like, you throw some more troops in there. But what else you get? Tax revenue from what, that many people? It's like, what? Why bother? You just ask them to put more things on there, and they'll say yes.
Well, that's the thing. Like in a room, like when you're talking about an institution like the presidential, machination. Right? Yes, you could just say, okay, everybody's an idiot. But like the likelihood that everybody there is an idiot and they're all just like drinking idiot juice and doing idiot things together and nobody's having substantive discussions about it seems unlikely even for like this administration. So somebody sees some strategy here. What's the strategy? I don't know.
It's geopolitical influence, 100%. Down just like that.
Just see if we can do it.
Yeah, no, I think if we can get Greenland, we can get South America. That's the thing. Is if Greenland falls, so does South America, and that's the playbook. If they can get Greenland, they're going to go for Panama. They're going to go for Mexico. They're just going to go for it. Like, and the thing is if NATO waffles, or if, I guess it'd be the EU, if the EU waffles and gives the US Greenland, it's no holds fucking barred. Like, that's just, it's the foot in the door.
Like what was here? I mean, just ask yourself this: what was the purpose of the of Hitler's Germany saber rattling preemptive?
It was Lebensraum, meaning living space.
Yeah,
guys.
I mean,
this is This is why we're in this mess, because we used all of our Hitler analogies up on Elizabeth Warren and Ronald Reagan and Ted Cruz and all these other people. And so now we have an actual event that kind of looks like Hitler. We have no more Hitler juice left. You've ruined it for us all. And here you are.
Our
trying
producer
to,
asked about idiot juice, and now we also need to source him with Hitler juice. He needs to know where he can get those.
It comes from it all comes from actually, you know why the water from the spring spring water in New York tastes so sulfury?
Is it idiot juice?
And Hitler juice, yeah.
And Hitler juice. Oh. Yeah, no, I honestly, Gherk, the thing is, though, is that it's not a direct analogy because, I mean, Trump's not talking about Lebensraum. He's just talking about, I just want Greenland. I mean, like, it's even more direct.
He's specifically saying that the United States needs it.
For
He's
what?
saying he needs it in order.
It's for strategic.
We need it in order to
strategic
maintain strategic
significance,
control of the Arctic. It is necessary to the national security of our country to control that big block of fucking ice.
Okay, so but like, what's the direct comparison to Lebensraum with Hitler, though? I just don't see it. Honestly, I don't see it. That's I'm like being straight up.
Well, you don't? You were the one who brought up the comparison.
Yeah, because Lebensraum was about expanding the empire to be able to have more Germans in more parts of the fucking world.
Saber rattling's purpose is always the same.
No. The rhetoric is different.
Are you implying?
Well, of course,
it rhymes, but it's not. It rhymes, but it's not perfect.
All of the saber rattling around AI and the China race is also that.
What, AI living space? AI Lebensraum? No, that's just idiots trying to collect money.
Well, it's the same, but it's the same thing, right? I think what Gherk is saying is that the actual reason is irrelevant. The point is that it is important to us, and it's also important that you don't think too hard about why it's important.
Okay, I can get behind that. That's the rhyme, right? Yeah, totally. But yeah,
Yeah, sure.
It's just not a direct analog.
I mean, I know people said this a lot, and I didn't think this needs to be said, but Trump isn't actually Hitler come back to life. He's a different person.
Yeah.
No
with
shit.
His own experiences and feelings, and
however, historically, all of these regimes work in a similar or exactly similar fashion, right? You know, they all find a common enemy, they persecute the enemy, and then they try to expand power. So they gain domestic influence and control, and then they try to go for imperialism.
Yeah, consolidate and expand. But that's the goal.
I guess Venezuela made a lot more sense for that than Greenland. I don't know.
Oh no, I mean, well, South America, and the thing is like, it just comes down to what's a more direct one-stop shop, and you just need to get your foot in the door somewhere.
But since the beginning of this, we've been like, since 1 year ago, we've been saying, you know, or this administration's been saying, you know, Europe's fucking us over on NATO. They're fucking us over on prices. They're fucking our companies over on regulation and taxes. Europe's the bad guy. Europe's the bad guy. Europe's the bad guy. And, you know, there's always enough elements of truth in statements like that, you know, you can get backing from a broad swath of people that believe like, oh man, yeah, Europe's really kind of fucking us over. My local business here in, you know, like Dearborn, Texas is dramatically affected by, you know, these European decisions to
don't make me go on spurious correlations to find the GDP of Wichita, Kansas.
Dearborn is in Michigan. Do not bring Texas into this.
So okay, so I see. This is it kind of like all kind of ties together, right? With this whole
Dearborn, Texas
thing with
is a historic logging community in Hardin County, Texas.
Oh boy, did you just go on Wikipedia for that? Then
I just typed Dearborn, Texas, and you told me it wasn't real.
Well, nobody who says Dearborn thinks of Texas. They all think of Dearborn, Michigan.
That's just your bias.
As a Texan.
I'm not I'm a transplant, right? I'm a Georgian.
Okay. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, you don't even know much about tech. Yeah, you go back to California, as they say in Nevada.
Well, I'm also not from there either.
No, but you should go back to California.
I actually don't really like it there very much. It weirds me out.
It's
I
just
don't
a
know.
slogan that people say.
The weather's nice, but
They think their
don't know.
housing costs
I
are going
just-
up because of Californians, and so they say go back to California if you're not from the state.
I know. I understand the reference. I'm just pushing back like California is not for everybody.
Have you okay, so come next
Give
time
me
you
I would
give me
say
the rolling hills of
the largest
Appalachia
problem
any
with
day.
California is all the people that have moved there.
Yeah.
So
Like the actual Californians are pretty cool, but the people who
as
made
a
like a bunch of money in
fellow
Ohio and they were like, I need to live in California, those people are assholes.
as a fellow Appalachia adjacent person,
Appalachia.
I am once again imploring JD Vance to please go on social media and call me a dipshit. It would make my year.
you need to be more direct. You just need to ask him directly.
Have you tried just
I've
messaging
asked him
Daddy.
every
multiple
single day?
times.
Ooh, please, Daddy.
Just
I've
message
tried
him every
multiple
day
times.
until it becomes
I
a
just
meme.
start all the people that like who have spent like years just following me around so they can remind me that Nvidia went up, even though I think it's worthless still. They just go on and respond to me and tell me that I'm a cuck every time I ask for JD Vance to tell me I'm a dipshit. But I have a dream.
I think
Oh.
what you should do is you should just make a running tweet at JD Vance where you just start with day one and then count number of days since JD Vance has called me a dipshit. And start at
But
one
he's never
and
called
just
me
every day, same post, same
Okay.
time until he calls you a dipshit.
Ooh, that's not a terrible idea.
I'm a
And it's got the
genius.
perfect amount of OCD in it for me.
Actually, with X, you could just schedule that post.
Huh. It takes all the fun out of it. All right. So that's Trump. Let's move on. Let's go to big banks. What's going on with them? They look fine.
Yeah, mostly. There were some red flags, but I think JP Morgan's net income was down 7% year over year. There was a little bit of worries about the credit quality coming from their pickup of Apple's credit cards. So they posted like a $2.2 billion loss provision.
Yeah.
So which does imply meaningfully weaker credit quality than their existing portfolio.
Well, I think that's probably right because Goldman Sachs wanted to dump this shit pretty much the month after they started it.
A lot of guidance didn't really match the beats. The big G-SIBs that beat. We're not putting out the guidance people wanted to see. Forward assumptions look like rates, costs, and fee outlooks were overall going to be higher and worse. I know Bank of America dropped like 3%. JPM fell. Wells lost almost 5%. Wells actually did have not great earnings. I think they delivered 5.4 billion in income net on 21 billion in revenue. But they explicitly assume that the Fed is going to cut 2 to 3 times this year. And they need the 10-year Treasury stable, which really, a lot of the big banks are beating on net interest income, which is the money they're making on their lending books. And the story of net interest income depends heavily on the Fed's rate path, right? So I think
well, yeah,
people
this was like the original sin of Janet Yellen back in 2023, right? When she juiced bills.
Yeah, but
Because everybody was sitting on these huge losses, and then she said, all right, well, I'm just going to start dumping a bunch of interest income into you risk-free.
Yeah, which was nice.
Yeah.
But what happens when that runs out and, they've still got to refinance 50% of the U.S.'s debt this year?
I don't know. What happens?
Well, it's bad.
Mm.
That's a lot of debt.
I've
to
always heard
refinance.
refinancing is great when you own a home.
Not when you're refinancing those rates up, right?
That never happens.
I think a full half of the U.S.'s 32 some odd trillion dollars in debt right now. It needs to be refinanced this year, and most
Okay,
of
so
that
Gherk, here's what you do.
This is how much of that is bills rolling over, though. How much of that is bills versus duration?
No, a lot
more
of
and more
duration.
every fucking month. And so here's the playbook. Here's what you do is you just shorten the terms over and over again until you're just selling them like 3 months out in the most variable rate debt you could possibly fucking maintain, and you just keep it there until rates fall, and then you just dump it all down into fucking duration.
If I was the Treasury, why wouldn't you do that? Because the Fed's buying it all up there.
Exactly. Yeah. Just do it. That's what they're gonna do. As soon as fucking JPow's out, that's what they're gonna do. That's what that was my 2026 prediction, was JPow out, and you're gonna see the Treasury and the Fed just absolutely have just an orgy.
Well, yeah, that'll be interesting.
It'll be disgusting. Like, it'll be like you don't even want to watch it on Pornhub, which I know you can't do from Texas anyways.
Nope, can't.
And why do we think Japan's going to put that money back into U.S. instruments? What if the refinance isn't a rollover, but it's a roll into domestic like domesticization of Japanese funds?
That makes entirely too much sense, Gherk. That's why I don't believe you.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, there is always that risk. I don't really know enough about that to say anything substantive, but one thing I did want to bring up in terms of the banks, because I would love anybody to provide some more information on this. So I remember, at the beginning, basically right at the end of 2024, going into 2025, the Federal Reserve and who sets the rules for banks said, okay, you have a bunch of these loans on the books that are currently stuffed into consumer and industrial and commercial and industrial and consumer debt and other things, but actually it is something else. So you have to reclassify it as other loans, basically, to non-bank financial institutions. And so there was, like, if you go and look at any of the categories like consumer or C&I or any of those things, like, you see this huge drop right at the start of 2025, and then you see this huge spike, this basically equivalent spike on other loans. As they reclassified those things. But then at the beginning of this year, they did the exact opposite and swapped it right back. So what the fuck is going on there? Did they change the rules again? Because I don't think they could even get rules through that quickly. That seems very accelerated. And why would they change the rules and then immediately say, okay, we're going to change them back, and you reclassify it back? I don't know. I don't get it. But it's basically like a 1-for-1. Whatever was swapped at the beginning of 2025 was swapped right back in the beginning of 2026. Could be nothing, but I just don't understand why this was done.
I'll have to look more into that.
So something to put a pin in. Something fucky is going on in the bank world, and I don't know what it is. So if anybody knows anything, you could just DM me and tell me I'm an idiot and they just changed the rules back or something and why they did it or what was the point? Like, why'd they do it at all?
You know, most DMs are just going to say you're an idiot and not elaborate further, right?
Yeah, they're going to call me a cuck. I know. That's why I turned them off.
The primary response of most people is, I'm so smart and you're so dumb that I'm not dignifying you with a response to your question because it's just so dumb, but I am dignifying it with this long response about how dumb you are.
That's bait. I'm not going there.
Sorry, I had to. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. I don't know. As somebody who gets paid to explain things to people, I have to do a good job. And I think if you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it. That's almost certainly
That's a core tenet of
universal
science.
truth.
Yeah, 100%. That's a way to live. I do that. Like, I work with end users and I work with technical people and everything in between. And no matter who I'm talking to, if I can't help them understand exactly what's going on, then I've failed.
All right. So, any other bank things that we want to talk about? I know. How is the? Because I remember it was a week or 2 weeks ago. We talked a little bit about the Fed juicing the front end, helping the banks out a little bit, buying up some bonds. How's that going? Anybody keeping track of that?
I am.
They're doing it.
I mean, yeah, there was well, I guess the interesting thing there was that into OPEX, the the SOFR IR spread kind of plunged back to negative, which is healthy. However, as we approached the 16th, the spread started to widen back out again and went positive. And so the short-term cash demand from OPEX, even though not a big index expiration, was driving up. And so, obviously the effects of that may continue into this week. I know FINRA, like supplemental liquidity deposit, like period ends Tuesday now because of the holiday today. So that'll probably have some effect going into tomorrow. However, into the rest of the week, I guess we'll see. Usually that short-term cash demand picks up the most into the end of the month, end of the quarter. And so, I mean, I guess the fact that we're still seeing a little bit of a positive spread here is not great, but I would still want to see like end of month to really determine if what we saw, like with the big blowout at end of year, if that's going to be a continued effect that you see during the window dressing period at the end of each month and each quarter. Because obviously that's when cash demand's the highest, and that's when we have the best signal of how effective the Fed's pumping of more rollover balance into short-term bills is. But again, if we look market wide, obviously the effects of so much issuance being refinanced this year. And then whether there is a repatriation of that $1.3 trillion in capital that's currently in U.S. bonds, but is very likely to flow back to Japan, and if Japanese lenders aren't going to kind of close up shop on the carry as inflation continues to hit, and funds are repatriated. So I mean, and obviously that would dramatically affect short-term liquidity, because right now, a big chunk of those interest payments that we're paying out are going to Japan, where, the people, took U.S. assets and got yen and converted it to dollars and came back and bought U.S. bonds to cover the carry. Now, like, it looks like the, cumulative cost on that carry is around like negative 16%. So, even though day to day, there's some profit and loss in it, in the short term, but over the long term, that loss is just continuing to steepen and steepen, and Japan's rates are climbing at a really rapid pace. So I think that has a pretty pronounced effect on all of this.
Well, I know we didn't have it on the list, but I kind of want to bring it up because I think they are somewhat related. Gold is now continuing to push highs. I don't have silver futures up right now, but I'm sure it's still. I mean, it was very high at the close last week. And then
Yeah,
Bitcoin's still
silver's
flat,
up
but I
back
think
at like
that's just
92, I think.
yeah. So what's going on there? How much higher can it go?
I mean, I
Is it
don't see a
related?
top, right? Until the dollar falls and people can sell those hedges, then I think precious metals just continue to rise. Like we need to see yields move. We need bond volatility back. We need to see yields at the top end move where they should be, and then that would trigger a sell-off in gold and silver. But until then, I think people just keep piling into them. They are.
I mean, it comes back to the ultimate the crux of this whole thing, right? Like people who buy gold and silver, do you think that Jim Bob McBoomerson is out there pushing gold prices up? Fuck no. And why do
Yes,
you
Jim
think that
Bob. Yes.
why do you think that the lots who was it, one of the major exchanges just reduced, was it China or somebody, reduced the amount of lots you can trade intraday or hold open intraday for gold and silver? I think it was China.
I'd still like to point
um
out that Russia and China, with major stockpiles of both of the like both silver and gold, and also major mining powers in those sectors, um, hold a massive amount of leverage over the US dollar currently due to the price of those assets and their ability to impose export controls. So, I mean, I feel like that's really significant and doesn't get talked about enough. But I mean, China already imposed export controls on silver as the demand in the physical market started to surge. And so, I mean, if they did the same with gold, especially after their central bank has been stockpiling it like crazy for the last 3 years, um, physical delivery could run into serious issues. And they could control that. I mean, bureaucratically, in a way to improve the value of the yuan against the dollar pretty easily, I think, which gives them a huge amount of global economic influence that they didn't really have previously.
Yeah, I can't help but think that a lot of people are rethinking, these precious metals and things, not just as shiny rocks, but also as, heavy hitting commodities that are very important for a lot of processes, especially in, semiconductor and things. So I think there's probably a little bit of crosstalk there as well.
Well, it's like, why did gold go up? Gold went up because central banks started buying it to hedge the massive amount of money they have invested in U.S. treasuries in case U.S. treasuries do the thing that they normally don't do, which is yields over time rise versus decline, right? And then Russia's central bank has been buying silver because they're kind of currently cut off from most gold supply, and they also mine a shitload of gold. So they can just reserve the gold that they're mining, and they've been buying silver. And this is why both silver and gold are up. This is not because preppers were like, oh, I'm going to keep a bunch of gold in my basement. This is because major central banks have been buying this shit up like crazy. And I mean, that was the whole thesis behind why I thought Trump wants to invade Mexico, because the state of Chihuahua in Mexico, which is right on the border, has the world's largest silver deposits by a lot.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see I think in a world where fiat is starting to come unraveled a little bit, people are looking to hold physical things.
No, I just want to point out that since the Bank of Japan decision back in December, the Japanese 10-year bond has moved from 2% to 2.325.
That's not great.
What
What are they going to do, right?
Literally
Because
vertical.
they're literally getting like, I don't know if it's even possible, but I guess we're going to see if it is. Like the Bank of Japan seems to be just getting squeezed on their own instruments.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all of that, they can't really issue debt. They already have a debt to GDP that's like
Right.
200%. So it's like, or 230 something percent. So it's like, yeah, I mean, and the yields on Japanese bonds are just rocketing. I mean, the 10-year is literally just going vertical. It's up 16% in like less than a month.
Yeah. That's I mean, it remains to be seen what ultimately that's going to do, but it's.
I mean, I'll tell you one thing
certainly...
it'll do. It'll take $1.3 trillion of Japanese money that's currently in U.S. Treasuries and bring it right back home.
I mean, that's the goal, isn't it? That's why they're doing this.
I don't think the Bank of Japan is
doing what?
I think bond traders are doing this. I think the Bank of Japan is trying to avoid this like the plague.
Yeah.
They have loose as fuck fiscal policy, and they want their interest rates at 0%, not at 2.32% on their 10-year.
Well, okay, so can you YCC your way out of this?
No.
Not without even more inflation,
obliterating the yen.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the insidious part of this, is that they got caught with their pants down with so much debt, and you just have. I think this is just a massive underpricing of this risk of everybody in the world. I mean, Japan's in the crosshairs right now and the spotlight, but everybody did this, right? They all said, "Where's the inflation? Where's the inflation?" There's no inflation for 20 or 30 years, and they all said, "Oh, globalization, productivity, it's all making everything great." I have different theories on that. I personally just think that we have never properly accounted for measurements of inflation, and we talked about that before, but I think inflation's been bad and it just wasn't being accounted for. But now it is so bad that it is obvious that if you print money to control your yield curve, it is going to make things measurably worse, right? Even by the broken measurement standards that exist today. So, yeah. Not great. So
it's uncharted waters. Right. It's great. It's cool.
Well, I mean, and we talked about this a little bit last week too, right? It was like, okay, it's uncharted waters. Take whatever economic models and economic trends and things like that you have, and just fucking burn them. They mean nothing. You're flying blind, accept it. And if that makes you uncomfortable, you're underpricing volatility and risk. But we are in unprecedented times in so many ways, right? I mean, I can remember, like in 2022 when everybody, including me a little bit too, I will admit to being a perma bear that is always trying to do better and recover, but tend to see the negative in things, and think that they will unravel faster than they do. But I could remember seeing, even back in 2022, people kind of saying like, well, based on all of these factors, every other time this happened. Right. And then that was wrong. And then somebody else had their pet thing and said, every time this happened. And then that didn't turn out to be true. And it's just like everybody just one by one, all of their pet theories being applied to a brand new situation that has never existed before. It doesn't work. And I think that people are still grappling with that, right? I mean, holy shit, even Claudia Sahm came out after her Sahm indicator hit and said, this is the one time ever in history that I'm not going to say that it actually counts.
Her 100%
And she
accurate
was
backward-looking model.
right, and she was kind of right on that one, at least in the short term. But I think the lesson here is not that Claudia Son made a good indicator, because it's just MACD, whatever. Use it however you feel comfortable. But I think the point is that if you expect things to continue to go the way that they're supposed to, you're going to be wrong, right? And it's like we were talking about, like, oh, if the Fed starts cutting the front end, the back end's going to go up. And everyone's just like, no, that's not how it works.
I mean, I feel like the
You know that I've been fighting that fight on
Yeah.
Reddit for months. By the way,
Yeah, you know
for
what? It's not
years.
how it worked. It's not how it worked in the past, because it was a different situation with different mechanics and different dynamics. And if you don't recognize that the game changed, that the problem changed, you're always going to be trying to apply the wrong solution to the actual problem at hand, which is there's too much debt and not enough return. Like, the rate of debt issuance is too high relative to the rate of bank credit expansion and loan expansion, right? And so if everybody's sitting around saying, I want to hold X amount of bonds every year, I want to hold 10%, 20%, whatever it is. Right now it's like 18%. And I don't ever want to change that, right? I want it to be a constant value based on my money, right? Which is what they're doing. You go and look, like, it's a flat line. Then yeah, if the federal government issues $2 billion in debt every year and pays $1 trillion, you need $1 trillion to come from somewhere else. And if it doesn't, they're going to ask for higher rates because they're going to be too heavy on bonds. It's such a simple idea, but people call me dumb and retarded and all of these other nasty names because it doesn't fit the historical models. But if you actually stop and think, like, hey, let's try to find some causal mechanics here and not think about, statistical models, we might actually be able to navigate this somewhat.
I guess that's the reason I've harped about the implications between, the carry trade and the US market for so long, is because I think people are really just complacent in the idea that we can infinitely fund portfolios out of Japan. But I mean, even though that's persisted for so long, we really are at just a point in time where, the risk of that deleveraging is becoming so pronounced and obvious that it seems like it should be the focus of everybody in the market. Because I mean, it's the world's largest pool of domestic savings, and for 30 years it's kept interest rates down on the long end for the US, and tariffs keep that down on the long end, and we're doing everything we feasibly can to suppress the long end and try to keep credit loose and try to keep growing the economy, but we're doing that while cranking the knob for demand for debt. And you can't have both, right? It's like, you can have long-term growth that's financed at higher rates, or you can have fast short-term growth that's financed at lower rates, but you can only pick two things. You can't have three. And we're really in a period where, like, there is no reason for any of Japan's, $1.3 trillion to stay in the US at this point. The cost to carry is negative. And so repatriation is the only it's the only option supported by financial models. And so, you know, and when that happens, it's going to increase the fiscal sustainability sensitivity of all global debt assets. which means, I mean, I guess in lay terms, like risk is going to cost money again. Very,
Well,
very
so
real
like
money.
this comes down to what Gherk is, I think, saying is that the correlation of debt assets across the entire market are about to become way more correlated than was assumed. I think that am I right in that, in terms of like what you're saying when you say about risk is going to be priced properly, is that this whole idea of like just like risk of default, right, across
Yeah,
the board is just going to go up.
yeah, it has to.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So yeah. Okay. I guess then the hope then is that the financial system is prepared to be able to handle that type of event, especially considering the last time this happened, it was disastrous. So, and that's 2008. So I have to assume that they have better mechanisms in
I
place,
mean,
but I
I
mean,
think
there's no way to know unless you're there.
the market dropped like 15% in a couple of days in 2024 when Bank of Japan did a like slightly unexpected rate hike. I mean, everybody at this point should understand the sensitivity of the market to these events. I mean, you can look at examples of BOJ, like when BOJ, remember back when the BOJ pulled back YCC back in 2023 after we rallied out of the Fed bank bailout. That was the only drop all year, and it tanked the market from August to October. The market just went straight fucking down, and we only recovered
Yeah,
when
but
Yellen was like, okay, well, they stopped doing YCC, so we'll start doing it. And then we recovered through all of 2004 until the Bank of Japan hiked rates again, right? And then we plummeted until the Fed was like, okay, we're going to cut. I mean, this is literally the story of the market for the last 3 years. I feel like it's just front and center, and it gets ignored by everybody because they think
because
insularly
nothing
and
ever
domestically.
happens. Well,
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of different mental reasons that add up to ignoring this, or at least downplaying it, because one, nothing ever happens, but that's also partnered with this idea of FOMO, right? Everything's going up. We're in like this revolution that's as big as electricity and whatever. And everybody's like, I don't really understand it. I don't think it's making that much
but
money, but
even
if it does make money, I want to be on that train and I don't want to miss out. And that is coupled also with the idea that, hey, if things actually do go really bad, we're all going to get bailed out again.
I mean, like, but even if AI was everything it's promised to be and all of the marketing, how the fuck do you finance the infrastructure to make it happen? Like there's no clear cut
Well,
route to the
that's
thing they
so
imagine happening, and that's even in the best case scenario.
yeah, this is the redheaded stepchild of FOMO. I could say that because I'm redheaded. It's not speciesist. But the converse to FOMO is FAFO, right? And we're currently transitioning from FOMO to FAFO.
Well, we've definitely fucked around.
And we're starting to find out a little bit.
Yeah.
Not quite there, but we're getting close. All right. So we've gone on and on about geopolitics, macroeconomics, globally, big banks. We've got PCE coming up this week. It says do we want to talk about December CPI and PCE, or did we already talk about it?
We didn't really. I mean, it was the first full CPI report. We didn't get anything else. Everything else is delayed. They pushed out PCE like 6 months. 3 months, I guess, when being.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing to say about CPI is you can dig into all the dirty little details. I have sort of lost faith in the measure in general
Yeah, I
for a
think it's just
variety of
bullshit at
reasons.
this point.
I think in general, it's like, okay, healthcare or whatever, health insurance didn't go down 30% in the last 3 years, right? But little things like that, but just more Secularly, just always slightly undercounting inflation a little bit. Props up productivity, makes everything look better, and nobody questions it.
I mean, I think at this
everybody.
point we could probably just say the books are cooked and like move on.
I don't know if I want to say the books are cooked, but there's a foot on the neck. But it's not like there's any one person or group of people, particularly right now, that are conspiring to cook the books.
No, that's because everyone
point.
at the BLS left.
Well, I'm saying that the things that were put in place, like there were well-intentioned but somewhat biased to one side choices. They were made over the long term in the BLS methodology. That has made it's gotten to the point where before you had plausible deniability, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, it kind of matches, but now it's gotten to the point where it doesn't really match what people are just seeing every day, that you have to start. But okay, but put all of that aside. You put all of those caveats aside and look at the number for what it is. We have had zero improvement in CPI over the last year. Zero movement. It's where it was a year ago.
Yeah, I feel like that should be expected. If anything, I wonder, where is the pass through from tariffs? Have tariffs? Maybe this is a good question people should be asking. If we're not seeing pass through from tariffs, then how much are tariffs slowing growth, and how far off are our growth estimates?
Well, so there's a couple of things. Number one, correlation's always causation, so take all this with a grain of salt. But inflation on goods has gone up, kind of in line with like the tariff timeframe.
Yes,
now, is that natural variation, right? I mean, inflation always kind of like picks and chooses its areas where, it kind of bounces around, right, between goods and services and consumer, durables and non-durables and things like that. So right now, the things we would be importing and consuming have been going up.
So really, it's just oil. It's just the price
maybe,
of gas
but
is
yeah,
down.
that's right. That's the thing. It's like, is it actually due to tariffs, or could it be any of the 2,000 other knobs that play into it as well? Who knows, right? But at the end of the day, that's why I say at the end of the day, CPI has been flat for a year. Okay. No improvement.
So here's something to think about. Say we move into all this refinancing, right, of this debt, and we already know that bank reserves are low, right? We are just barely, we're barely, edging the bank's reserves back to stability with this latest rollover from the Fed that, people called QE, but isn't really. And without any real QE, like we're not bolstering bank reserves, okay? And we're also in an environment where banks need the Fed to continue cutting in order to improve net interest income. So we have two things now working against bank reserves. And so if the Fed has to step in and they have to start refinancing a lot of this debt, I think about sorry, I was wrong. I was a little off earlier. It's about $9 trillion this year. If they're refinancing $9 trillion in debt, we have what was the estimate? Like 5.4 trillion in financing for AI infrastructure. I think it was like 5.4 down to like 1.6. That was last week. We had a chart for it. Anyway, we could just ignore that part.
Maybe over the decade.
If the Fed starts stepping in and buying up a bunch of debt in order to cover some of this refinancing liquidity gap, and maintain bank balance sheets at their kind of substandard level that they're at right now, without drawing down on them even further and blowing out that front end liquidity, which is the most likely path for the Fed, right? If we assume that the Fed is always going to act in the interest of banking stability, logically, then they're going to step in and they are going to buy a bunch of this debt up. And if they do that, the dollar is going to drop. The dollar is going to drop hard. And if the dollar drops hard, not only is the yen going to go up, which is going to fuck with the carry trade, but oil is going to go up. And if oil and yen go up, inflation is going to rocket, which is going to find the Fed with their pants down around their ankles and rates far too low to control it. Which is a repeat of the end of 2021, but on, you know, 5 times the scale.
But now with no, you know. Okay, so then I guess the devil's advocate in me is like, well, you kind of thought they didn't have as many cards to play back then, but over 2021, 2022, 2023, they found a lot of cards to play.
They did,
keep
but they
going,
played
right?
all those cards while they were raising
Biden
rates.
drew down the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which was a brilliant move. It kind of cut off oil at the knees and kind of stopped the momentum on that trade, which did a lot, probably more than any other thing, I think, to tame short-term inflation, was to just get the price of oil down.
He really did sell oil at the top of the market there.
Yeah, and then Yellen going to bills to kind of, ease, I don't want to say the word liquidity, I hate that word, but basically to increase liquidity,
improve short-term funding.
Yeah, sure. There's all those knobs. So what are the knobs that we're missing now, I guess, is my question. We think, okay.
Well, I'm trying to think of what the next knob they need to turn is in order to stabilize things. And I think
that's where I want to go, is that's the value, is where are the knobs that we haven't thought of yet? How many knobs are left? What's the actual runway?
Yeah, I mean, well, when bank reserve balances were ample, there were more knobs that could be turned. But now we have the federal balance sheet stopped rolling off. Now it's increasing again. Right. And it's already still at near all-time high levels. So we didn't really roll off much over the 3 years that we did roll off. And bank reserves are now no longer ample. And now we're faced with another kind of credit crunch. But this time, the Fed, the only obvious route for the Fed is to step in and provide liquidity where banks are unable to, which means the Fed increasing their balance sheet once again, probably a few trillion, and that is going to skyrocket inflation just like it did last time. Except this time, we didn't really do anything to get rid of the factors that caused inflation to go up the first time.
Are we already seeing that, I guess, is my next question. Everybody talks about it like, oh, it's coming. We haven't seen it show up in any of the official numbers yet, but nobody can even buy computers anymore today because they've got so expensive over the last few months.
Yeah.
No. Isn't that skyrocketing inflation?
It is.
I mean, you've got people talking about how Apple might skip a phone cycle. I mean, aren't these all signs that we're already in a skyrocketing inflationary environment?
Yeah.
No. It's a skyrocketing negative hedonic adjustment environment.
Well, okay. Yeah. But yes, negative. Finally, we got my negative hedonic adjustments. Yeah. I mean, nobody uses electronics for anything, right? You guys remember when there was
I've never personally used a computer in my life.
It's certainly not right now. You don't have another one in your pocket either.
Nope.
Because it's out on your desk.
It's not okay. Necessary
I don't have a camera in your apartment. That was a lucky guess. I do not have a camera in your apartment.
All right. Wait, what's that camera above my door?
That's
a Labubu. Shut up.
What happens in your home is your business.
All right.
It's my camera.
I knew it. How did you afford the RAM in that?
I bought it early. I got in right at the beginning.
It does.
But you guys,
my computer that I bought before all of this happened is up is up 400%. Like I can't
Yeah,
use
you
it.
could
I
just-
can't
you should-
depreciate
yeah.
it at the rate that the price is rising on it.
I have a stick of a 16 gig DDR4 stick I just got sitting on my nightstand. I'm just like,
If you guys
should I put
want,
it
you
on
can
eBay?
find that on his
Maybe.
Facebook Marketplace page under penis finger Frank.
That's
if
correct.
anybody in the
God-given
audience is
name.
interested in picking up that 16 gigs of RAM, he'll give it
Okay,
to you.
people are already trying to figure out like who's JFresh and who's Dr. Gingerballs. So we can't go adding in penis finger Frank. Nobody will know.
They'll be able to
what's going
triangulate you.
But yeah, I mean, so you remember back kind of in like the inflationary time, like right at the beginning of the inflation last time. What was the story then? It was like, oh, we can't build and sell cars because the chips are so hard to get.
Well, the story
like
then
almost
was
the same story.
was supply shock, right? But it was
that was wrong, right?
Yeah,
it was demand.
It was commodities driven.
Nobody stopped building things. Nobody stopped making things.
No,
back
but
then.
they did
like
charge
maybe
a
a
lot
little
more for
bit.
the things they made.
Yes,
almost like
yes.
what we're doing with RAM now.
Yes.
And
that's
yes, spreading,
what I was
right?
getting
Spreading
at
to the
is
other components. Well, I did say
I am
this
seeing
a few weeks ago.
the exact same dynamic that occurred then. Demand-driven inflation.
Yeah, well, I just want to ask, do you remember about 4 episodes ago when I was like,
No, I jettison all memories every week on Sunday night.
Oh, well, if everybody in the market...
My context window is not that long, Gherk. I'm sorry. You're going to have to give
well, I'm gonna
OpenAI another
it.
2 years.
I'm not just going to reference myself and not explain my prior point.
I know, but I feel like this is a personal attack on me as well as an explanation.
I mean,
and I can't
it does
the
feel
two.
like you pay less attention to me nowadays, but we've been together a long time, so I get it.
It's the seasons of our relationship.
So, this has been, I've been kind of harping on this for a while, on my own stuff on here. And the reality is we have a capitalistic economy. We don't have any governing price controls. And if you have every multi-billion, multi-trillion dollar company in the world all trying to buy the same limited pool of products to scale out their infrastructure, regardless of the end goal, the cost of those items is going to increase infinitely. And that is going to reverberate through the rest of the economy.
Are you saying that computers are used in business, Gherk?
Yeah, I am. Imagine now every company in the S&P's IT budget quadrupling. That's going to hurt.
They don't use computers.
Right?
Nobody uses computers. Only AI uses computers.
No. See, the thing is what they really don't want
skill issue
is Copilot self-installing itself on their fucking computers. I mean, this is a realized effect of everybody trying to pile into the same fucking wagon, right? The picks are sold out.
That's not true. There's 700,000 H100s sitting in a warehouse next to NVIDIA that they didn't sell to China.
They can't power, right? And so like the power demands are going to go up, and the cost of power is going to rise exponentially, and the cost of the materials to get that power is going to rise exponentially, and the neodymium magnets that they're going to need and the generators are going to rise exponentially, and this does not stop. This is we're just seeing the beginning of it.
I would like to say 2 things. Number 1, got you to talk about AI. Got him.
Bastard.
And number 2, I want to reiterate, Jensen Huang has already said, after saying demand is infinite and we're sold out, oh, wait, I have 700,000 H100s in my warehouse, but that's okay because China wants to buy 2 million. So we're still sold out. But now China said we're not buying them.
Yeah, China's instructed everybody
so you
to
can't,
not buy them.
You can't be sold out and have a bunch of inventory at the same time.
Whoa,
And I would just
hold on.
so people understand, I want people to understand how much 700,000 H100s is. That would, my rough estimates, that would be enough to fully power all of the computation at Anthropic today. Which is like the majority, like Anthropic and OpenAI are probably over 50% of all of the chip usage in the market. And they have enough chips to power another Anthropic just sitting around.
But I thought they sold all those chips because they were sold out of them.
No.
So they're sold out of them.
They were going to sell them to China and then.
But they reported revenues from selling all of those chips previously, yet somehow
I don't know about any
clawed
of that.
back.
I'm just saying we're no longer in a, I mean, everybody's moving on to Blackwell and now Vera Rubin, whatever, but
Yeah, I see. Constant parallel upgrades.
Well, I don't know. We could go into it later. We don't have to go into it now, but I don't really see a ton of improvements in terms of actual usage, right? I mean, he showed some weird numbers at CES about how in some certain cases, if your latency is the right amount and blah, 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 you can get this amount of improvement from this type of model. But it was certainly not, it was not super, it wasn't super convincing of like, oh, this is going to be a massive leap forward, right? I mean, we're basically going from like 700 watts to 1,000 watts or like 900 watts, right?
So we're just bumping the power on the same chip architecture.
Right. Well, yeah, we've hit Moore's law. Like everybody says, hey, Moore's law isn't dead. We're getting more and more now. And Jensen Huang's just like, he says, oh, I can beat Moore's law by setting a second computer down next to my first one, which is not Moore's law. That's just Jensen Huang's law. But the chips aren't really getting that much more efficient, at least at the transistor level. Like they're stuck. So the only way to get more out of a chip is to increase the power, but then you have to get the heat out.
Yeah.
Which used to be a fun gimmick in the semiconductor industry, but now it
sounds
is
like diminishing returns to me.
Whoa! We're about to start talking about thermodynamics, and right at the beginning of this whole thing, Gherk said specifically,
I won't do it. We're moving on. Abrupt transition to earnings. No more macro. End the macro.
You know what I'm actually interested in this week? I'm not interested in Netflix. I'm not interested in Intel. Netflix is a phenomenal company and no one will ever drop their subscription until they're actually starving. Because people need to waste 30 minutes of their time, and Netflix's slop provides that opportunity every single day to them. But
here's where I'm at with Netflix. I don't even watch Netflix anymore. I mean, I don't really watch a ton of any of them, but I will not let go of it because if there is something I want to watch on there, I don't want to have to figure out how to re-sign up.
Yeah,
and get
how
it
was
back
I
on
supposed
my
to
TV.
find out that the newest season of The Witcher was going to suck absolute ass without maintaining?
The Witcher kind of always sucked.
My Netflix subscription.
When Henry Cavill was in there, it was good. He knew the lore. He was a good character.
No, I mean he did fine. It was just the production value and the storytelling.
Fuck you, he did okay.
I mean,
okay. Thank you, Ron. You're agreeing with me.
Henry was the best part of the show, but the show still wasn't good.
It was okay.
I was always just like, man.
Okay.
It kind of felt like a budget fantasy version of Star Trek.
Can we? I mean, I'm going to piss off a lot of people by saying this, but can we just say that, like, let's be honest for a second. The books weren't that fucking good either. They're written in Polish. They're kind of mediocre. But it was
never read them either.
It was a captivating experience as a whole, or at least on the whole.
The captivating part of it was the Witcher 3 video game.
It was like 50 Shades of Grey meets Dungeons and Dragons, and people were into that shit for a minute.
Okay. So then I have a question then. So then, I mean, what's your opinion on the God of War thing that's coming out pretty soon? They've got an all-star cast.
Where is that? Where's that coming out on?
Fuck, I forget. I just know that somebody's making something with God of War.
Is it just like
I'll
some
take a look at it.
retelling of Greek mythology?
No, they're actually starting in the
kind
Norse.
of, yeah.
The Norse storyline is where they're starting, actually. So the whole idea is that the Norse side has apparently a more rich character sequence. So they're gonna involve a lot more of what's it called, the gods world in Norse mythology.
So a new season of Vikings.
Gherk, suck my balls.
Okay. Well,
I mean, it could
about
suck.
that.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know how much money are they putting into it, right? I mean, we'll see.
Okay, these are the
You need a lot of
the
money.
earnings
Anyway.
I'm interested in, because you guys are just talking about nonsense now.
Yeah, no, we got to talk about earnings because JFresh transitioned to that. Yeah,
I'm interested in 3M because I think 3M might make a lot of money off of making stickers that act as heat sinks on all this fucking RAM people are buying.
Well, it's not only that, but it's also 3M with the hook and ladder technology as well.
But 3M is everything,
aka Velcro.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say
every material. They have a patent on all the materials used. Like if you look around you, there's like 40 3M patents just right.
See this calculator? 3M.
Here's an interesting thing to think about.
Or like 3M is one of the rubber membrane that sits over the buttons.
Yeah. Yeah.
The film.
3M is one of the
screen. Every time JFresh talks, I'm going to make a new product. The Post-it note you have stuck to the side of it.
Scotch tape.
3 haters tape. 3M is the manufacturer of one of the only dielectric fluids for chip cooling, like submersive chip cooling. But they discontinued it recently, and I don't know if it was just because it was too expensive and the economics didn't make sense, or if it was also partially because they got
didn't they understand that they could
dinged for environmental things. But what I'm wondering is, they're probably licking their chops looking to get back into that. So actually 3M could be a good just bet to see hey, do they come back and bring back in
do you think
some coolants that can touch chips directly, because that's kind of where we're getting to the point where that's going to be required and it's unavoidable. So even these cold plate water cooling technologies that have been coming out, it's not going to be enough very soon. So you have to imagine 3M's looking at that.
That's what I said. Like the little 3M makes the little heat sink stickers that go on your NVMe drives.
No. But not the heat. That's not good. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the dielectric fluid that touches the.
What if they can make a dielectric gel that you put on your chips?
Not good enough. It has to be flowing because you
can
have
I put that dielectric gel other places?
Yes, you can.
You put on your balls, your taint,
hair. You sick bastard.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm interested.
I'm trying to capacitate.
You don't have, whoa, Dork. You don't have hair on your tape? Don't answer.
I mean, I do, but this hair is much more important.
You answered it.
Dork is 1% 1/64th Native American, and he has a hairless taint genetically.
1/32nd.
Oh,
wait, did you look that up? Is that true?
No,
Ron, look that up.
I have no idea if that's a fact or not.
I need you to look up. I'm 1/8.
Ron,
I'm 1/8 Native American.
On your personal computer, Ron, can you please Google Native American hairless taint?
Wait, 1/16.
Yeah, you could bill. You can round up by the hour on the billable hours on that one.
No, we can't. Fuck, no, you can't, dude. No, he's already hitting his limit for the week.
He's not going to do it. No. He's not going to do it.
I don't want to pay him anymore. We already paid him $30. No.
That was for the whole season.
Yeah, I'm not paying him a fucking penny more, okay? He's a douchebag.
You're just jealous because you only got 4 quesadillas.
He just chat GBT'd it.
Those 4, dude. I mean, one of those quesadillas was shitty and you didn't care.
Okay, so Gherk really cares about Netflix earnings. What else?
So Netflix, 3M,
Halliburton, Kinder Morgan, and Schlumberger. Now that we've exposed the United States to the vast untapped oil wells of Venezuela, who better to benefit than all of the oil pipeline and oil logistics companies that we have here in the United States?
It's going to be
they're all up-
Schlumberger.
They're all up significantly since the news
Halliburton.
of abducting Venezuela's illicitly elected leader. And I think investors are going to be foaming at the mouths, wanting to hear their forward guidance on just how much money Trump is going to give them, because Exxon said, we're not fucking doing that shit twice.
I mean, yeah. Honestly, I think Halliburton is going to be super interesting in terms of the earnings call. In terms of actual numbers, though, DR Horton is coming in on Tuesday morning. I'm really interested in DR Horton's earnings. In terms
I
of,
was going to pick DR Horton too.
yeah, no, it's In terms of who's been leading the charge for like new luxury apartments and townhomes, aka I'm only sharing one wall with a neighbor. They're the ones who are leading the charge. So in terms of housing, if you're interested in housing, they're the ones to look out for to see what kind of money they're making on turning these things around.
I just imagine that the DR Horton earnings call, just some like naked orange hairy creature comes out and says, "I speak for the homes."
We are here. We are here. We are here. Yeah,
anyway, anything else?
I mean, if you think we're in a depression, McCormick, but like,
didn't McCormick just closed like their famous steakhouse, or maybe that's a different McCormick.
Wait, hold on.
Famous steakhouse.
Are people like who are poor buying McCormick? That shit's like $2 more than other spices.
Yeah, you just
what
buy
are other, the other in terms of when you go to Rayleigh's, McCormick.
I don't know what that is.
Like
don't
the
talk
cheapest
about
spice
Can
you
you
can
name
buy.
a national grocery chain?
They don't have those on the
That's
West
some
Coast.
Kroger offshoot. They have Ralph's in California.
What the fuck is Ralph's?
It's also Kroger, just like Rayleigh's.
What about
just say Kroger,
so if I say
like a
Food
normal
Max,
person.
do you guys know Food
Or
Max?
Giant.
Take it to the max.
Show me the ticker for
No.
Rayleigh's.
Show me the ticker for Suck My Dick.
How about Walmart?
That would be SMD.
Yeah, Walmart. It's going to be McCormick unless it's what is best value.
Yeah, best
value. And then that can't. You're just paying for mercury at that point.
But it's got.
It probably is.
There is not a single poor person on earth that can actually even taste the difference in quality between the different herbs. They will absolutely buy the cheapest one.
Yeah.
And to be fair,
and the cheapest
most times
one
I
isn't
can't
even
either.
the store brand. It's the Badu in the foreign food aisle.
Well, yeah, no, like I said, it's just the ratio of dollars to heavy metals that you're getting in your herbs.
Yeah.
My favorite ones are the foreign food aisle ones.
Lead.
More lead and mercury. Yes.
You know how they package Halloween costumes? It's just like a plastic bag, and then they just staple some folded over cardboard on top of it.
Yeah, that's
two places. Right.
Or
yeah,
Goya.
that's like that. Right. But for spices, those are the good ones.
Yeah. You gotta find like a local Southeast Asian or Indian market, and they just have buckets. There's some buckets of different spices, and you put them in a bag, and you have to bring them home and prepare them yourself.
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay, so wait.
Should we should invest in mortars and pestles.
I actually use those for my cumin, by the way. Cumin seeds in mortar pestle, best way to prepare cumin. 100%.
Yeah.
Bar none.
Nobody prepares cumin, though.
I do, in a mortar and pestle.
Mm.
You just throw the seeds in there and just jam it. It'll stink up your house with cumin smell, and it's amazing.
My
JFresh was just attacked by a runaway kitty.
No, my microphone literally just fell over. Hold on.
You know,
I'm gonna have to fix that later.
Was it an earthquake?
Bad. No, I need to. All right.
It finally got tired of JFresh speaking and tried to end its life.
Okay, wait. Okay,
yeah,
there's two more earnings that I think are worth mentioning. Intel, if we haven't mentioned that yet, Intel has their.
Well, we already mentioned that it wasn't interesting.
What's going to be?
Why
is
Intel interesting?
Fuck you.
What have they ever done?
Yeah, fuck off. But Ally.
Why are you interested in Ally? Is that where you bank, Dork?
Ally and Charles Schwab, they're going to be interesting. I don't know why, but I have this feeling in my
Why
plums.
those two and not Interactive Brokers?
Interactive Brokers is the most boring brokerage. It's actually surprisingly worse than Fidelity in terms of being boring.
Hold on, guys. I have a question. When we see Delta on GammaStrike drop on major indexes like SPY, which is a trend we've been seeing recently, right? Do we then short brokerages because their fees are going down?
That's a good question.
That's an interesting thought.
Don't pique my curiosity
This is
like
why
that
I'm
in the
head
middle of a
trader.
fucking podcast, Gherk. You're a dick. Yeah, there's actually some pretty interesting. This is going to be a fun week in terms of just finding out some stuff. I think D.R. Horton's going to be good. I think Charles Schwab might be interesting. Intel is going to be interesting just because AI. McCormick's not actually interesting. I brought it up as a joke.
I love how we had a 20-minute conversation about consumer goods and you just skipped over Procter and Gamble.
I was actually about to bring that up. I was like, more so than McCormick, like the consumer, it would be Procter and Gamble, which is
Procter, but that's like, but they're gonna be. That's what I was saying though with McCormick though. It's like right when I said McCormick, before I said that, I said if you think we're in a depression, this will be interesting. I don't think we're in a depression, so it's not going to be interesting.
Okay, but I'll give you something interesting to look for in the Procter and Gamble earnings, because this kind of stuff showed up the last time we started seeing everything go straight up and we had inflation, where the earnings looked good, but then if you read into it, they said, the actual number of, nominal amount of product we sold went down. It's just that the prices went up so much, we were able to handle that. So it'll be interesting to see if a similar dynamic starts to occur now.
Okay.
So look for that. Look for volume moved down, even though earnings up.
Okay. That's that. You know what? That's a good call out. I'll take it.
Okay. All right. So why don't you go into what's on the calendar that you guys like? Because I saw a bunch of stuff that
nothing. It's all just old crap, right? It's like quarter 3 GDP,
old data and
old personal income.
I mean, CPI was flat last week, so I mean, we're just kind of
real
here.
last week.
Yeah, we're vibing right now. We're just in the vibe zone.
Yeah, vibe macro.
Yeah, this is just vibey economics. We're chilling.
Maybe
all right.
Maybe like S&P PMIs. I'm assuming 50% of them haven't quit.
So you think PCE is going to be vibed too?
It's like November's PCE. Who cares about it?
Yeah, I guess so, huh? Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I mean, initial claims is going to be
based on
it's
a CPI
always
report
something to
that
look
included
at.
like 4 items.
Yeah, I know. So I mean, initial claims is the only thing I'm going to be looking at really. Pending home sales, but initial claims I'm going to be looking at just because it's an interesting data point to look at. But I know that the uncertainty in that number is fairly high, so I'm not going to really like base my entire life decisions on it. But yeah, there's not really a ton of stuff. So just look at it. I think PCE has the, people think it's going to be important, but yeah, like Gherk said, I don't think it's going to be a big shocker. However it shakes out, it's probably going to come right in line. So I guess now is the perfect time to play an ad and question our life decisions.
Yep, I think Ron needs to earn his $30.
We need to figure out a new way to format these ads. Like something about them is just so sad, like the music, maybe something like that.
Do options Greeks just sound like Greek to you? Check out our free learning materials at app.gammastrike.com/docs to get a better understanding of how to understand market maker behavior.
I wonder if we could use Ron's really depressed voice while recording that ad and then
I
just
mean,
overlay it on some like heavy metal music or electro pop.
his voice isn't too sad. It's mostly like it's just the music is just like it's like the sad part of the pharmaceutical ad before the happy part. We just need the part where it transitions to the happy music, and then it's perfect. It's just the sad music just breaks my
Have you
heart.
experienced erectile dysfunction from Tegra?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, the person sitting on the edge of the bed like this, right?
Do options make your pee-pee soft?
Right.
If
Are
they
your
do, check out
positions
the
making
ads
you
at gammastrike.com/docs.
uh yeah, the docs are great though, guys. Look at the docs. I know there's a stupid ad for it, but you should look at them. If you are confused about the Greeks, there's a lot of math on there, but don't look at the math. Don't you can build intuition without it.
Yeah, nobody
If you're a
needs
math nerd, you
numbers
can
to
look
make
at it. But
money.
yeah, it just explains everything so you can kind of identify stuff. So, anyways, why don't we move on to the next fun thing, which is our audience questions. So we post a link to ask questions anonymously through a form. We post about these podcasts on our socials, and you can reply to those socials anywhere you want. Ask a question. We will look at it, and we're probably going to answer it because we got nothing better to do with our lives. So, anyways, existential dread notwithstanding, our first question comes from Reddit. Are my JPM calls safe? We are going to respond with a question to you. Are they long or short calls?
I have a better question. Did you buy those calls with JPM, and have you been debanked by them?
Or sold?
Mm. We're going to turn it into a class action. Is that what we're doing?
I'm just trying to find out how many people have been debanked. And in the United States of America, Dork brought up a really good point before our recording session here, is that generally businesses are considered allowed to choose whom they will serve, as long as those policies aren't discriminatory in any way. They can choose which customers that they want to do business with and which they don't. And you know, shockingly, after being charged with like 32 concurrent felonies and convicted, I think they just didn't want to bank with Trump anymore. And he seems to have a problem with that, which has popped up in the last week since JPM's less than stellar earnings call. And yeah, that might have a bit of an impact there on your calls, Reddit person.
If they're short or long. Yeah. So this next question is from Blue Sky. This is a question that's to do with their data. So on SPX monthly options chain going back several months, there's been a bump in GM consistently. And I'm just going to say this now. This coincides with OPEX. This isn't part of the question, but just so you know that, just to give it some context, every OPEX, GammaMax bumps up.
It's not every OPEX. It's the quarterly. Usually.
Yeah, sorry, every quarterly OPEX. Well, this is SPX, so every quarterly OPEX, yeah. GammaMax tends to bump up a little bit, and
I think
kind
it's
of
just
just
every
sit there.
monthly OPEX, but yeah.
Anyways, where's the bump for January OPEX? So let's just address this right now. We've actually seen this OPEX was particularly large, and we've actually been working on this over the weekend. We have some stuff in there to deal with, our data providers, who knows, they may screw up, and we have to deal with that every once in a while. It saw something that it thought was wrong, but it's not. So we're actively working on fixing that right now. So like literally as we do this podcast.
I also
So
want to say something else about this, is that like the January OPEX very specifically tends to not have a lot of index interest. Jan OPEX is really all about equities. It's the leap expiration for
Yep.
all of the equities in the market, and leaps are the long-term contracts that you can buy like a year out on individual equities. And usually you see the majority of options expiration on the indexes for the year in the December contract before taxes. And then the January contract indexes tend to be a bit slim. So, I mean, given that at that expiration, a bunch of delta generally falls off the chain, and that tends to expand where gamma max is relative to spot. When you have an OPEX that doesn't have a whole lot of delta falling off because it's a slim expiration, you're probably not going to see as big a bump or a big bump in gamma max.
Yeah, and I'll just say, this would be a time to plug our, at least our X account, social account. I did post a long form article, first one, playing around with it, where I just kind of talked about a lot of that. Where'd the big delta fall off on different ETFs and different single stock names, and kind of what the trend was there, and what the big takeaway was. So people who are interested in trying to get a bigger picture feel for what did December and January actually go through, what really happened. And I did actually also include some longer historical context looking back. I actually went back all the way to like 2019 to kind of provide some context of like the dynamic of what's going on here now that our yearly stuff has fallen off. Because I mean, the thing to kind of keep in mind here is that a lot of people put like positions on for the year, and those expire now. And so this is that big kind of repositioning time where everybody's positions are falling off, and now they can put on new positions. And so I kind of looked at what happened the last time this happened. How did those positions come about, and what's different now than in the past? And I don't know. I'm kind of seeing a lot of similarities actually between 2020, 2021, and 2022 and now. Like we're kind of in like that 2020, 2021 phase. Not quite as obvious as the 2021 to 2022 as everybody's freaking the fuck out about interest rates rising. But there's definitely been a slow trend of moving from position super long to trying to capture income from those positions that have played out. That trend is continuing. Anyway, go take a look at that if you want to get more information on our thoughts on the January OPEX and the December OPEX, or at least my thoughts. I won't speak for the other two.
No, I read it. I thought it was a good write-up.
And
I retweeted it. The react.
Thank you, sir. You did something to it.
Yeah.
I don't think Dork retweeted it.
I did not reshit it. Sorry. I've been slacking. I'm sorry. I'll get on it. Look, now that GammaStrike has more followers than me, I'm a little envious. And so I'm just trying to do everything I can to ruin that.
Yeah, GammaStrike did hit 1,000 followers today.
Woo!
Woo!
Yeah, you made several threats into the end of December about what was going to happen if you were unable to obtain 1,000 followers on the GammaStrike.
Better late than never. It all worked out.
I mean, your dick remains intact. That's all I'm going to say.
We weren't supposed to say that on. Fuck.
Yep. You're not supposed to talk about dicks anymore out here.
Now we can't market this to 3-year-olds anymore. Thanks.
Well, if it can't talk about dicks,
that's our largest potential customer base.
Well, fuck.
Wait, what do you mean if we can't talk about dicks and cock? Do you just you go to a social gathering and you're just like, man, I really hope I could talk about dicks and cock here, or else what am I gonna do?
That's exactly what I do. I don't have much content beyond that, bro.
I actually just bring it up to gauge the audience.
That's actually not a bad strategy. You kind of drop something. You're doing the Trump. You're trying to see if you can take Greenland.
Saber rattling.
Yeah, you're rattling.
You show up to
saber.
the party and you're just like, am I gonna be able to take Greenland at this party or not?
God damn it. Oh, good Lord. Well, I mean, it is an idiotic way to try to, I don't know, figure out whether or not you're about to be a big hit at the party or a big failure. So on that line, why don't we move into our favorite thing?
Stupid bets.
No.
Stupid bets. Oh no, you missed a question.
Did I?
You're fired.
No. Gherk said no talking about AI.
This is an interesting. Okay, fine.
I don't think this earnings cycle is going to be the one. How about that?
Yeah, fine. Find guy who asked a question that for whatever reason we're just gonna be like, no, your question is dumb.
Could
and we're
this
not
next
gonna
round of
answer
tech
it.
earnings cause the AI bubble to pop? I don't think so.
I mean, sure, anything could happen, right? But
It's not going to be an earnings call that happens.
Oh, that's not true. Earnings calls killed the .com bubble. If Jensen
That was the what were
comes
you
out
thinking
and
earnings call.
he says that
What
my
were you
new
thinking?
lizard skin jacket has bankrupted Nvidia, it's going to cause the bubble to pop.
No, there was just earnings calls that sort of signified or exemplified the .com bubble, where it was like the what were you thinking earnings call, where he
Sun
talked about
Microsystems.
so okay, so I think the base expectation of a lot of people, whether they'll say it or not, is that they expect everybody to continue spending, but they don't expect the revenues to show up.
it's modus
So
operandi.
even if they keep spending and they don't see revenues, people are still gonna stay in it, right?
Yeah.
What they want to see is somebody say we're gonna cut spending on this.
What, for the AI bubble to pop?
For it to possibly pop, right? Someone's gonna have to say, I'm out of this game of chicken.
Well, I think Meta would still go down if Zuckerberg just keeps spending more money than he makes.
Yeah, he's going to.
Never forget that Meta changed their name to Meta for the metaverse, which was a gigantic waste of money.
No, we don't talk about that.
Okay.
This one is different.
I'm just saying, when
He
Meta
has a good
decides they're
idea.
into something,
That's why when
it's
he
usually
pivoted
dumb.
from Meta, after the metaverse flopped and he pivoted to AI and his llama flopped, and now he's pivoting to just compute, which basically puts him in the same league as all of the Bitcoin miners that also moved to AI compute in the neo clouds.
Has
He
anybody
has a
ever
plan,
thought
a
that?
grand plan.
To lose money? Sweet.
Yes.
I think Mark
Okay.
Zuckerberg's never had a good idea since he stole his last good idea from someone else.
That's true.
What are you talking about, MySpace?
I mean, well, no, I think the last good idea that I guess he bought it, but he was gonna just shelve Instagram. He just bought it for anti-competitive moves. I mean, this is all documented in like emails that were released in court filings.
Again, buying other
And then they were
people's
like,
ideas does not make you have a good idea.
well, he had the idea to buy it,
Yeah,
but he
That's
didn't
I think
even
he
have
just
the
had the
good
money to buy
sense.
it.
Yeah. Well, that's yes. Anyway, all right, Dork. Now you can. We already played the stupid bet song. Ron already blew his load. Can we play it twice in one episode? Will that cause a black hole
Yeah.
to form?
Stupid bets. Stupid bets. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna lose? I think we all lost.
I don't even remember making this bet. What the fuck is this?
Actually,
It's a
JFresh won.
stupid bet.
There were no tacos this week.
Right, but what was the J-Pow taco supposed to be? I don't even
Trump
remember.
dropping the charges against JPOW, which technically he did. I mean, like,
He disavowed them.
disassociated himself from them.
Yeah. What was the credit card one?
The 10%
The
cap on
credit card
cards.
limit? Yeah, no. That was
Oh
like,
God, I didn't even remember that. Yeah, I guess we still have another week on his 2-week taco window, right?
I guess, is
I
it a
don't know.
2-week
Does
taco window?
Anybody even remember?
Well, yeah, we said he would taco, but it was a 1-week bet. I mean, and he didn't taco, so I guess Trump is the ultimate Chad now? No, he didn't
So
taco yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I won. We got no tacos.
Yeah, he actually,
Well, we probably.
I think, wrote an executive order for the credit card cap, which, is unenforceable and does nothing.
It's also probably just going to screw over buy now, pay later more than anybody.
Yeah.
because that's where all the low credit rating people got funneled to a long time ago. I feel like.
I mean, yeah, that's it's ultimately like it's like the ultimate fallback. It used to be 0% financing for 6 months in a given credit card that you'd sign up for, so you'd have like 16 credit cards. Now it's just buy now, pay later.
All right, so what's our new stupid bet? Greenland? I don't know.
Yeah.
Do we do Greenland or do we do
Shit.
I don't know. This is a boring week.
Is it?
Yeah. We got earnings.
I think we're just
guess.
getting overloaded with all of the bullshit.
Probably.
He's flooding the zone. No single thing feels significant because there's so many things.
It's true.
I mean,
guess
I want to know what the Prime Minister of the Netherlands is going to text back.
new number.
Ooh.
Who dis?
Yeah.
Or new
Hey,
phone. Who
Trump, you up?
dis?
If I were the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, I would text back "Kofifi" at 2 a.m.
I mean, that's not even make sense, right?
I feel like you just really butchered that. Isn't it Kofefe?
I don't know.
No one knows how it's not supposed to. It was in text and it wasn't supposed to be pronounced. No one knows what it means.
It's GIF, Dork.
It was text.
No, I'm saying it's pronounced GIF, not GIF. It's Kofefe.
How about you suck my balls? It's pronounced GIF.
Again, none of the 3-year-olds that we market this to can listen to any of this.
Yeah, I can't
Well,
wait to
shit.
see the Jeffrey Epstein files.
I hate you guys with every
I hate
fiber of
that
my
you
being.
call them GIFs.
What do you call it? Do you call it a giraffe? Is it a giraffe?
Actually, in many countries, it is.
Is it Gilbert, not Gilbert? Keith Jill? Is that how you say it? Keith Jill?
My son's middle name is Gilbert with a G.
Dork, hey, do me a favor.
GIF.
Tell me about what kind of Jaffix card you're running.
There's an R there.
Graphics.
Do you call... Okay. You know what? Do you call it Gibraltar?
This isn't the question. You're using other words. The word is graphics. Graphics. Do you call them drafts? Are you like, did you go to your math teacher and go, look at this draft I drew?
Look, all I'm going to say is eat my ass enthusiastically.
All right,
I'm
so
gonna claim
what's
my
the
time.
stupid bet here?
That's a good question.
Ron, help us out. Do your job.
You talk about oh yeah. Okay, so tariff taco. How about that?
I feel like that's another 2-weeker though.
Is it?
Is it 2 weeks? Well, yeah, it is, I guess, because the tariffs don't go into effect for 2 weeks.
What if are we still talking about Greenland in a week?
Ooh,
What if we
so
just move
Greenland
on
news
completely?
cycle?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to vote on the members of the Board of Peace Security Council.
Ooh, like first person or like one of the first people on it? Like the first round?
Like, my bet is that the first 6 members of the Council of Peace are going to be the leaders of like Qatar and Saudi Arabia and I don't know, Eastern Bloc.
This is hard
countries.
though
This is
because
tough.
there's a lot of Chinese influence there too.
China's not going to spend $1 billion to
Right,
be
but
in Trump's fan club.
No, but I'm saying the Middle East isn't going to necessarily want to like pick that side. Because what is anybody getting out of this stupid thing?
I mean,
My vote is nobody's going to sign up.
Trump's getting $1 billion per signatory.
My bet is nobody's going to sign up.
You don't think
0.
anybody's going to sign up for Trump's version of the UN?
No,
I mean, he's got to get one person to sign up for it.
him.
I know how I'm going to pick my list. I'm going to look up most corrupt countries in the world, and I'm going to pick the top 6. So we're going to
Okay.
go
Ooh, what about like Taiwan?
Nigeria, Indonesia, Russia, India, Philippines, and then Thailand. Ooh, Taiwan might actually have to sign up for it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I mean,
You know what
I
I'm
guess
gonna say?
Trump's going to pay Venezuela's membership for them.
I'm going to say it's North Korea, Russia, Belarus, and that's it.
North Korea.
They'll find $1 billion somewhere.
They don't
How
even.
long-
Yeah, they're just gonna sell more Bitcoin.
Do you know how
Yeah.
long they've been waiting for the opportunity to speak
They'll
on
ransom
the
more
international
hospitals.
stage?
Yeah, they'll ransom a couple more U.S. hospitals, and then they'll be good. That's my bet. Those three countries.
How did you get into this group of elite individuals? Oh, we did an international fraud against Medicare.
Ooh, I guess I should have updated it for this year. I was
I
looking
forgot
at
to
the
pick
wrong.
Somalia.
I was looking at the wrong corruption index.
Djibouti.
It's actually South Sudan, Somalia, Venezuela, Syria, and Equatorial Guinea.
Damn.
How is Indonesia not still on that list?
They're doing a little better.
All right.
Indonesia's got a.
All right. So you guys tell Ron what your list is. My list is 0 people sign up for it, and it never ends up being made because it's a dumb idea.
Well, that's why I thought North Korea would be a gimme. I thought Russia might actually do it. Belarus might actually do it.
So
Great.
far, the
This
only
is like-
people invited are Putin and Belarus.
This is like all the people in like the Avengers that no one ever remembers.
It seems like an excellent opportunity for third world countries to pay $1 billion not to be invaded by Trump.
Yeah.
So wouldn't one of the first members be Greenland? Or is that too big brain?
Greenland doesn't have $1 billion, do they?
I don't know what they have. I don't know anything about it.
I just don't know if they have $1 billion.
Greenland's GDP is $3.3 billion.
So they probably don't have 33% of GDP sitting around in the cookie jar, do they?
I don't know. Maybe they were good savers.
I guess.
All
Their
right. Any
GDP per
parting word-
capita
let's-
is negative $58,000.
I'm gonna blow my brains out if this goes on any longer. End my suffering.
Okay, Ron, you got the. God damn it, Ron.